afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm in Denver, Colorado. Wow. And it's not snowing, thank God. No, it did snow a little bit yesterday. It was kind of cool. Um, so what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? So have you ever considered what actually is being present? I had someone ask me, they had mentioned Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. And it's wonderful. And so that's this era. When I was growing up, we had a book called Be Here Now by a man named Baba Ram Dass. And that was a book that I was reading. And I was really like, okay, what does that mean to be here now? And the only thing that I could get at that time was if I smoked a joint, I did not have all the thoughts that I had about everything else, and I could just be with my friends and have fun smoking the joint and laugh. And I thought that's what he meant. Oh dear. Anyway, that was when I was 16, 17 years old, a few years ago. So that's probably not really what he meant by being here now, but that's what I thought he meant. And then Eckhart Tolle came out with The Power of Now. And yet as I looked at that book, I remember wondering, so it's great to have an epiphany and a revelation. You know, there are people who have died and come back. Those are NDE, near-death experiences. There are people who have gone up, and had different literally extraordinary experiences. And yet, what about you and me, the average person on this planet? What does now mean to us, and how do we fucking get there? What is it? What is it? And so what I'd like to invite you to is to look at, do you make any conclusions in your daily life? Because when I come to conclusion and I decide something is so, then I lock myself into that box. And then I become contracted. And then I'm always worried about the future, or I'm judging myself from the past. So let's look at that. So if I'm always worried about the future and I'm judging myself about the past, where is the now? Where is the present? So one of the greatest tools that I personally found is to be willing to stop judging myself and others. This has not been particularly easy. It has been something I have had to demand of myself every day of my life. What would it take to be not judgmental of me? I literally ask that every day. And I started asking more questions. So how can I bring myself into the now, into what Gary Douglas in Access Consciousness calls living in 10-second increments? How does one do that? What is the practical aspect of that? And how does that work when, you're a single mom and you're trying to take care of your kids and you're working every minute and all you can think about is feeding your kids that night? How does living in 10-second increments work for you? If you're, 15 years old and you're going to school and you're trying to avoid the drug crowd, you're trying to avoid the bully crowd, you're trying to make your way and understand why everybody is asking you all these questions that are totally irrelevant. How does living in 10 seconds work for you? Well, I can tell you how it's worked for me, and I can share with you my failures and my successes. I can't really tell you how it would work for you. But hopefully, by talking with you about me, it will shine a light in your, oh, maybe I could use it like that. So if I don't stay upset at myself for more than 10 seconds, and actually for me, sometimes it's more like 10 minutes, if I can actually catch myself within 10 minutes of judging myself and go, wait, how is this creating my future? Judging myself is actually destroying my future. Judging myself is actually creating more unconsciousness in the world. Ooh, okay, I'm just going to kind of let that sit out there for a minute. And this is something that I just have begun to recognize, that when I judge me, that I am a creator of unconsciousness. When I acknowledge me, it's like, how many people do you know that you go, God, they're so brilliant? Now, what if you did this one thing and you said, after you acknowledge, wow, they're so brilliant. Like, my creative producer is so brilliant. And you know what? I'm brilliant too. Wow. Do you know it was actually really hard for me to say that the first time? I've been doing that for about 2 months now. It's easier now than it was the first time. But now, whenever I think a thought, this is how I am going into being more present and being in the now. When I think a thought, that person is amazing, and I'm amazing too. And you don't have to say that out loud. You don't have to tell anybody. But you begin to acknowledge your amazingness. Begin to acknowledge the value of you in just small amounts. And if you practice it, it gets easier and easier. The more you practice, I think somebody once said, practice being present. I never knew what that meant. Maybe this is what it means, that you actually have to consciously choose to be something different to create a different future. And does it make sense to you that you can't keep being the same as you are and have a different future? You must choose to be or do something different to create a different future. I think I'm going to say that one more time. You cannot be and do exactly what you are being and doing now, particularly in the area of money, and have a different financial outcome. You must change something. So the question is, what can you change today? What are you willing to change today? What are you willing to do for your own future today? And that's it. We're up 10 minutes. Woohoo! Over and out. Love you loads. Curry Glassell, Gems Podcast, doing our best to evoke and inspire you to adore you more every day.